आपको ले चलते हैं कराची चेंबर ऑफ कॉमर्स, जहां वज़ीर ख़जाना शौकत तरीन ताजरों और सरमाकारों से खिताब कर रहे हैं।
In dollar terms, this is West Pakistan. I am not even talking about the combined economies of West and East. And you all know, probably you're more knowledgeable than I am, that we also contributed development of Germany at one time. Maybe we gave few $1 million, but we did. And when our president would land in Washington, then the president of the United States would come and receive him in a motorcade. And now, here we are in the 23rd IMF program. Every 4 or 5 years, we have to go back, and we are basically yearning for a few dollars. My father was one of those people who worked with Quaid-e-Azam as a student leader and was part of the Punjab Muslim Student Federation. He died when he was chairman of Pakistan Workers Trust and Nazariya Pakistan. So he desire for a better Pakistan was always with him and runs in the family. That is why I just left a very lucrative job with Citibank and came here to just fix Habib Bank, which was not easy. I think it was one of the most challenging jobs I just undertook. But then there was passion and faith that if you believe in Almighty and you just basically have a passion and you have honesty of purpose, you can achieve anything. So God has been kind. Now I have got this assignment, which obviously I owe it to God Almighty and also to Imran Khan, who is a personal friend of mine, and he has been trying for the last 2 years to get me in. But I also had a problem that for no rhyme or reason I was implicated in a case in what they call rental power, which I stopped. And surprise, surprise, my name is also there. But I said, unless I'm not cleared of those, I'm not going to join any government. And once I was cleared, so I did. So this is what has happened. Let me tell you what will happen, inshallah, when I'm here as the finance minister. You saw the glimpse of that, in the budget. That budget, I tried to consult everybody in the business community, tried to accommodate as much as I could, remaining within the framework of IMF. At times I just flouted some of those areas as well. I mean, you know that IMF is not happy on a couple of things, but I still try to move forward. So why am I here? My first visit to Karachi officially, the first stop obviously after meeting the State Bank, I'm here. I'm meeting you guys. I'm not meeting FPCCI. I'm meeting Overseas Chamber and obviously Pakistan Business Council, which is basically a group of very important, kind of corporates. Why? Because I believe that, we need you more than that you need us. We have to make sure that you are happy. So here I want to give you a pledge that my doors for you will always be open. I will come over here every quarter with people from the FBR, even SCCP. He was on vacation. It is short notice. Next time around, we will plan it in a manner that everybody, all stakeholders, from our side, they are here to answer your questions, to resolve your issues. here and now and here, and because I don't believe in committees. I don't believe in postponing decisions which can be taken immediately. And I just want you to know that no matter what the issues are, they are issues. They have to be resolved. We may not be able to resolve them right now because we have constraints of IMF, and we may not have some fiscal space here and there. But we will take a decision, and we will resolve them over a period of time. But directionally, we'll give a signal. If there's a taxes, let's say turnover tax. I think there was 1.5% of turnover tax. We just reduced it to 1.25, saying that it will go away in the next 2-3 years. That kind of signal everybody knows, because when you are just investing in any country, any venture, you basically think long term. These are not 6-month cycles or 12-month cycles. So when you directionally know this is going to happen, you are at ease. You know that this is going to happen. And then the credibility of the government. So whatever I say, and if I just basically renege, 6 months later, that's not going to help. Okay. So you know that this time around I didn't have to go and just get it passed through the ECC and the cabinet, that to this textile and other exporting groups, that we give them gas at $6.50 and give electricity at 9 cents. I didn't have to do it, but I had promised on the floor of the parliament that we'll do it for this next year. So I thought it necessary that we will basically reiterate it through the ECC and cabinet decision. Put their minds at peace. Let me tell you what, they had not really calculated the whole thing properly in the budget. The cost to me is going to be twice as much as we thought. So my colleague says, Shaukat Sahab, you know how it is additionality in the costs? I said, that doesn't matter. If we have given a word, we'll stand by that. We'll make sure that this is not misused, because that's the understanding. Otherwise, even if it costs me 3 times, we'll stand by. So that's the way I think, because I'm a private sector person. I understand that people, when they invest under a kind of certain policy guidelines of the government. So same thing with the overseas chamber. I know that you guys brought in a lot of capital, and capital has no religion, no geographic boundaries. It will go where it is safe, where it makes money. Otherwise, it will flow out. And we have seen a lot of capital flowing out of Pakistan, from the banking sector, pharmaceuticals, and some others. And maybe a few of you are still thinking of doing the same thing. But I can assure you, have faith in us, have faith in this man sitting over here, and we will make sure that we'll keep you happy. Because that's my task, keep you happy. Because if you are happy, then you'll make your head offices happy, and they will then invest more. So it's my interest that I keep you happy. Okay. So this is my pledge to you. And don't you think that there is any decision which for me is difficult. No. I just believe making you happy is the primary objective. I understand that there are issues, some of those issues which we can, I can discuss over here later on, and those issues are burning issues. We will discuss them today. And some of those issues, one is obviously a turnover tax issue, because, and especially OMCs, they have turnover tax issues. They're corporate dividend, issue, which basically was exempted and then put back last year, and it's frankly an IMF conditionality, and I don't believe in that. By the way, I just don't believe in that. It's a regressive tax. Why the hell can't companies, offset, tax if they are in one group? We'll also be looking at this ruling on WWF, a kind of liability which cannot be adjusted as tax refunds. I've just told the chairman FBR to talk to us. There is this question, people are just a bit apprehensive. We talked about point of sale, and those machines are not, no, I think you should rest assured that we are single-minded. What is happening today is that to achieve the integration, the software which had to be harmonized, there are a lot of other capacity building to be done within FBR, both on, a kind of computing, CPU and disk capacity, and then connectivity. So those things had to be done. Is being done. We believe that we will hit, 70 to 80,000 to 100,000, retailers this year, and move on. So don't worry about that. I also believe that there are concerns about a few other things. Global registration, and I think this is the first time we have done that. I think there are apprehensions, so we'll look into that. Can we just, and this also I'm sure has come from IMF. There are certain things about deposit of unpaid dividends, government treasury, and etc., etc. We'll take a look at it. I've been just given this, that these are concerns. You also have a problem of attendance on AGM, through video links. Absolutely, why not? So, Chairman SCCP is not here, otherwise we could have taken a decision right now. But we will be taking a decision. So, effectively what I'm saying is that the issues you will raise today and issues you will raise in days to come will be accorded the highest priority as far as I'm concerned. So let me talk about, where we are in the economy a little bit before we just open for the questions. What we did, last week with the Prime Minister, this is after, 1.5 to 2 months of, exercise. My EAC, which is the Economic Advisory Council, some of you are members of that. They participated, and we prepared 14 plans, short, medium, long-term plans of areas like, how to improve the revenues of the government, the power sector, the housing, agriculture, industry, exports, CPAC, IT. There are 14 areas. And after 1972, the planning in Pakistan economy was abandoned because we dismantled the Pakistan, the Planning Commission. Now become basically a project approving and implementation, division. And because we did not have, short, medium, long-term plans, we obviously, we had, zigzagging of, policies. So this time around, I just involved the government, which means the minister and their deputy minister or so, plus private sector people, so stakeholders. And most of the presentations were actually made by the private sector people to the Prime Minister. So those plans are there, and we will share them. We'll give you those plans, this thick, But what are we going to do? Would they go back, and be sitting on shelves? No. They will be living documents. Every month, the same teams will basically stand in front of the Prime Minister and say, This is what we promised on a short-term basis, medium and long. This is what we have achieved, and this is what we have not achieved. So this is a kind of review process. You do it all the time in your businesses. Government was not doing it. This was supposed to be done by the Planning Commission. But as Planning Commission had become redundant, so nobody was doing it. So it was a piecemeal thing, by individual ministries. Now this will now come under the finance. I'm going to have a cell, which and I think you probably know a lady sitting here, Aisha Aziz, who basically will be working with me in the Ministry of Finance, and she is going to coordinate this, but it will be done professionally. People, who are professional, analysts, will take them from PIDE. This, that PIDE is a government institution run by Nadeemul Haq, and they'll help us to organize these meetings with the Prime Minister, each one of those ministries. So there will be some, there's a method to the madness. And after, God knows how many years, after 1972, okay, that's a good thing. Our revenues are growing well. As I mentioned that, I think in the budget speech and later on, that there are 2 or 3 things which we are doing. One is that we are trying to expand the tax base, what we call broadening, and where we are using technology. Now we got data from various sources, from the electricity bills, telephone bills, deposit data, travel, etc. So we have now, the profile of the customers, unregistered voters also, by name. There are 7.2 million, names with the FBR and 15 million names with Nadra. They are now talking to each other, and through artificial intelligence and comparing it with the behavior with the registered, kind of taxpayers, we have just gone to the unregistered, and we can, accuracy of 80 to 90%, we can tell people what your income level is and how much tax you should pay. 80 to 90%. Now, who's going to knock the door? Would the FBR going to knock the door? So what I promised in the budget was the harassment of FBR, and this is not casting any aspersions on people who are sitting over here. But generally, there is a perception that there is harassment over there. That, they issue notices and, they make life miserable. So there will be universal self-assessment, and there will be third-party audits. Only a fraction, maybe 2 or 3%, or whatever the FBR says, risk-based, that this guy has not declared, majority of the income, it will be given to a third party, which means from ICAP we'll take, maybe 50, 100, people, and only then they will, just interface with the taxpayer, which means FBR is out, all told. Similar thing for broadening, there will be a knock. A knock is going to be maybe a text message which comes and says, Mr. Tareen, this is what, you by the way are not a taxpayer, registered taxpayer. This is what your income is. This is the tax you have to pay. Please deposit the tax. It will be in your interest to deposit the tax. Maybe another reminder. And 2, 3 reminders if the guy does not pay. Maybe there's another third-party person can call and say, you don't do it. And then I have law.